Time now to say good morning and welcome back to Talk Radio, to our Friday favourite, Jasmine Birtles, to go through the finance news for us from moneymagpie.com. Good morning, Jasmine, and where would you like to start this morning?
Well, I think it's John Lewis, because this is it's a worrying sign, I think. I mean, good old John Lewis, we all love John Lewis, and like the way that they pay their staff. As you know, it's very much a staff ownership scheme. They all have a bit of a stake in the company, which I think is a good way to run a company. But their bonus is being cut this year because they are concerned that, they're concerned about the future, frankly. And I think this is, it's a mix of things. It's largely really to do with inflation and Brexit, and people just not really necessarily having the extra cash to spend on nice things because they're having to spend more on petrol, more on food, basic food, and this means that a lot of businesses, I think, are wondering if they're going to be surviving for the rest of the year.
And I do wonder if John Lewis now fits into what they used to call the squeezed middle when it comes to tough times and austerity, that people might save up for a real big treat, something very expensive, that posh handbag, that lovely suit or whatever, but also then they think, well, actually, maybe not so much John Lewis, maybe these days Matalan and even Primark.
Exactly, yes, and it's Waitrose as well. You know, if you've been doing Waitrose, okay, they have got their own value range, but you'll probably be thinking, no, maybe Aldi and Lidl, maybe Morrison's, maybe Co-op, Asda, instead of going for those nice posh biscuits and jams in Waitrose. So, yeah, I think you're right, that's what people are thinking. I'll save up for one or two nice things, but with the day-to-day shopping, I think we'll go to, as you say, Matalan and Morrison's.
Okay, let's turn around now to the big story of the week, which was, of course, the budget on Wednesday, the fallout yesterday. That continues reverberating and rumbling today, because now we learn that Theresa May said, well, you know what, that national insurance thing, it's not attached to the main budget bill, and we'll talk about it again in the autumn. So we're asking this morning on the show, do people think that national insurance price hike should be scrapped? What do you make of this, though? Is this damaging to the Chancellor after his very first budget statement?
Yeah, I think it is, actually. I mean, even though I've been on TV and radio over the last 2 days, talking about how I consider that it's a wrong tax, speaking as somebody who's always worked for themselves, I think, come on, this isn't fair. But at the same time, Theresa May's been doing this rather too much. She'll go, oh, we're going to do this, and then, finds everybody else doesn't like it, so, maybe we won't. And frankly, people don't respect that of a leader. You expect them to say, yes, certainly they should listen, definitely, and if something really seems absolutely wrong, then they go, OK, we'll think about this.
Because they used to always do that. I mean, I wondered whether that was going to happen because we've had such extensive leaking of the Chancellor's statement this time around. I thought maybe they were floating a couple of things, like in the old days, the so-called pasty tax, and they could then retreat from it without having said it in the Commons.
Yes, exactly. Because that was what Blair's government kept doing, wasn't it? Sort of floating it about, and if the newspapers went, oh, you're kidding, couldn't possibly do that. They go, oh, did we say that? Oh, yeah, we didn't really mean it.
It's all up for discussion, they used to say, didn't they?
Well, absolutely, all up for discussion. But as you say, there's Philip Hammond, did a very assured job. It wasn't an exciting budget in any way, shape or form. But, that was, as you say, it was his first one. And you would expect that Theresa basically to say, well, tough, we've gone through it, we've done the figures, because actually the IFS said, oh, yeah, no, this is perfectly reasonable. I'm irritated by the IFS, but okay, if they say this, what he's suggested is reasonable, let's go for it. Well, all right, maybe the country will go, oh, all right, fair enough. And then Theresa May goes, well, actually, no, we'll think about it. I think it doesn't help her stance as a leader, personally. And I'm speaking as somebody who was very unhappy about this move as well from the Chancellor.
I mean, the other side of this, of course, is, though, and I mentioned it earlier on, rough back of the envelope computation. If somebody self-employed is earning 32 grand a year, I don't know, working, say, in IT, working as a roofer, they would pay roughly 2,300 in national insurance. If you're in, say, the teaching profession or the nursing or wherever, and you're PAYE earning the same money, you wouldn't pay 2,300, you pay 6,170. Now, that is a big disparity, isn't it?
It is a big disparity, but, my argument always is, but we who work for ourselves, we don't have any sick pay, maternity pay, holiday pay. We don't have extra money put into our pensions. So probably if you add that up, that's going to be, close to that. That's my argument against it, and everybody else's. So in that sense, I think that, you need to have some sort of compensation in terms of being allowed to cut back on your tax a bit.
Okay, Jasmine, let's move on now, if we may, to... There's an interesting piece in the papers about Tesco's, because they've also, I think, there was no absolute suggestion this was any form of a kind of deliberate conspiracy. They've been underpaying staff. Now they're going to pay them back. Yeah,
good for Tesco. I mean, I think it's possibly the first really positive Tesco story we've had for a while. They're reimbursing 140,000 current and former staff who are left underpaid by a payroll error. As you say, it seems to be a payroll error. They said that they discovered it during a review as part of the implementation of a new payroll system. So they're going to pay out 10 million, with most workers getting up to 40 quid, although some could get much more. I mean, hey, 40 quid, it's not going to sort out your money worries, but it's better than a smack in the gob. And
it's a nice night out, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is, exactly. So I think quite a few people are thinking, oh, thanks, Tesco, because in a sense they could have buried it. They could have just gone, oh, well, we'll just not say anything about that. But
I love that. Is that your side of the mouth jailhouse volume you'd speak then? Let's not mention it to anybody. Tell it one of the Mitchell sisters. Yeah. Lovely talking to you again. Thank you very much indeed. It's a great sport. That's Jasmine Birtles there from moneymagpie.com. Check out that website for all the latest money news and kind of money saving and investment information. Moneymagpie.com and Jasmine Birtles on Talk Radio with me, Paul Ross.